begin our official time to present this wonderful occasion to you. Thank you. My name is Angela Upchurch, and I'm the Acting Dean of Simmons Law School. I'd also like to take a moment to introduce our incoming Dean, Dean Hannah Brenner-Johnson, over here. We're so glad she's here today. On behalf of the staff, faculty, and students at Simmons Law School, we are privileged to unveil the naming of our administrative suite and honor the late Senator John G. Gilbert. This name is more than just a label on a door or a sign on a wall. It reflects our vision, our mission, and the values that guide us every day. This past year, as I learned a great deal about the life and work of Senator Gilbert from his son, Judge Gilbert, SIU and the law school, we know we're thriving today because of the pioneers that we have like Senator Gilbert, whose vision, ability to reach across the aisle, and unwavering commitment to higher education formed our strong foundation. This space bears his name, and it will be a place where we will innovate and strive together to achieve our goals. It will be a place where we will hold not just our work, but our passion, our commitment to working as a team, and our purpose. As we unveil the Senator John G. Gilbert Administrative Suite today, let our namesake be a symbol of inspiration and unity for everyone at Simmons Law School. May it remind us of who we are, what we stand for, and the future that we are building together. I would now like to take a moment to introduce the SIUC Chancellor, Austin Lane. And because I have a moment and an opportunity, I would like to thank him for attending last week and being our speaker at our naturalization ceremony here that Judge Gilbert presided over, and for his constant support of our school. Chancellor Lane.
Thank you so much. I thought I was busy. Angela is very busy. I showed at the board meeting earlier, the Illinois Supreme Court being here. Angela put all that together with her staff. Big round of applause for the interview. Great job. Fantastic job. It's good to see you again. You know, what a way to end the week in Saluki Nation. I mean, we've had a great week, and I have to be reminded, Dr. Mahoney always says, but wait until about 3 o'clock on Friday and something bad will happen. I probably just jinxed everything, didn't I? Sorry, I probably messed that right up. So we'll see. Knock on wood, this is real wood up here. We have several speakers. First of all, welcome, and this is great to be here at the Simmons School of Law. And it really is a treat that you're here and you're going to see what's happening today. So I really want to make sure the judge knows that his son is already trying to tamper with the name. He said, if I can just remove Senator, it would be like my building as I walk in. He's serious. And he said, you know what, I'll just become a senator, right, in Tennessee. Right? You can be a senator. So just a great day, great event today. And Judge Gilbert, thanks to you, thanks to your family. You guys, this is an incredible gift. The legacy, your legacy will live on. Look at your grandsons and your family back here. That's good stuff. So I want to introduce our assistant president, Dr. Dan Mahoney, who will say a few words. So give him a round of applause and we'll keep it going.
Well, thank you, Chancellor Lane. And first I want to start off and just say thank you to Phil and Gail for this generous gift. We really appreciate your support. You know, a few years ago when I was looking at whether I was going to apply for this job and the search firm was trying to convince me that I should, they talked to me first about the board and what a great board it was, and then they talked specifically about Judge Gilbert and what a great chair he was. And having known my past experience with my previous board, they know selling me on the board was a really big thing. And it worked, it was effective. And one of the things they said was, you know, said Phil really is Mr. SIU. He cares about this place, he's passionate about this place, he puts this place first. It's not about him, it's about the institution. And obviously I never met Senator Gilbert, but as I heard Phil's stories, and Phil can tell great stories, the way that you can really get to know somebody, he was the same way. He was Mr. SIU, he cared about this place, he was passionate about this place, and he put the place first. And both of them have had a lasting impact. And I always say it's interesting, you know, I never met Senator Gilbert, but it reminds me I had a friend whose father passed away, and I said, you know, he's gone, but he's not really gone because I see him in everything that you do. And so while I never met Senator Gilbert, I felt like I have, because I've gotten to spend so much time with Phil, and I know a lot of what Phil does is really, again, thank you so much for this. Thank you for the impact that you've had. I always say it, I have the best board in the country, and I'm now going to turn it over to our Vice Chair, Dr. Ed Hightower.
Thank you, President Mahoney. I've got a confession to make here before I get started.
Be careful now.
I know that you guys always thought that I could see well. Well, I want to confess today, evident by these glasses, you know, and I never could see when I refereed. But I always had a great feel. On a serious note, to our fellow trustees, President Mahoney, Chancellor Lane, our good friend, former President Glenn Bouchard, who really just stole the cake early in a conversation he and I had talking about Phil's father and the impact that he really had as a state legislator on moving the education process forward, as well as bringing resources to this region when they were not very readily. So again, it was just a great conversation. To our good friend, my friend, Chairman Phil Gilbert, and his entire family, particularly Gail. Nice seeing you here again today. Today we celebrate a legacy that spans generations and has left an indelible mark on Southern Illinois and the entire Southern Illinois community. We're not just honoring one Gilbert, we're celebrating two. Two men who dedicated themselves to making a difference. Two men whose commitment to SIU has helped shape its past, its present, and its future. First, we honor the impact of Senator John G. Gilbert, a proud SIU grad who earned his law degree from University of Illinois. And then I just alluded to the impact that he had as a senator, reaching across, as you just stated, reaching across the aisle to get resources for this area. The legacy is alive and well today, thanks to the generous gift from his son, Judge Phil Gilbert, our chairman and our friend. This gift made in honor of his father is more than a tribute. It's a continuation of a lifelong commitment to Southern Illinois University. And like his father, Chairman Gilbert has steadfastly advocated for this university. Phil, on a personal note, and I speak on behalf of the thousands of people whose lives you've touched along the way, and to your past and current board. Your leadership has been a guiding light, sturdy, principled, and focused on progress. Your father would be deeply proud of the role that you played and the role that you continue to play in moving not only Southern Illinois, but this state to a better place. On behalf of the entire Southern Illinois community, thank you for your service. Thank you for your generosity, and more importantly, thank you for your enduring friendship Now, folks, as I prepare to introduce the next speaker, I've got to say this as I take my seat. Everyone knows what a prankster John Simmons is. Everybody knows him. And if you don't know it, you hang around with him long enough, you will feel the experience. Well, I almost got him a few minutes ago, folks. He walks up right into this door. He says, "Yeah." He says, "Come on up." He says, are you introducing me or am I introducing you?" And I said, "No, I'm going to introduce you, John." He says, "Well, why don't you put your comments in this folder, in this folder." And then he got to thinking, he says, "Absolutely not. Give me my folder here, because I know that you will pull a prank on me and take my folder and leave me hanging. But I'm not going to do you like what you do the rest of us, John." At this time, please welcome our good friend, John Simmons.
He left it here. You're a good man, and I, Derek. Good afternoon, everyone, faculty, staff, students, and fellow board members. It's an honor to welcome you to this unveiling of the administrative suite being named in honor of a remarkable Illinois statesman, the late Senator John G. Gilbert. Senator Gilbert is the father of our distinguished guest of honor and my esteemed colleague, Federal Judge Phil Gilbert, Chairman of the SIU Board. I'm especially delighted to share this moment in what has been an exceptional year for the SIU Simmons Law School. Our admission numbers are strong. Currently, our seat deposits are up over 40%, and our bar passage rates are climbing. We can all say, yes, thank you. We can all say Senator Gilbert's vision for legal education in Southern Illinois is not just alive, but it's thriving. Today, we have the privilege and honor of not only this remarkable legacy, but also its living embodiment. With distinction and honor, Judge Phil Gilbert has carried forward his father's commitment to justice and public service. Following in his father's footsteps of public service, Judge Gilbert has built an exemplary career in the federal judiciary. His thoughtful jurisprudence, unwavering integrity, and dedication to the rule of law have earned him the respect of the legal community and the citizens he serves. It is fitting to dedicate this administrative suite, really in the heart of our law school, to the man whose efforts made this school even possible. Just as Senator Gilbert's work created the foundation for legal education in Southern Illinois, this suite will support the excellence and growth of the school he helped establish. And I was thinking, Dean Upchurch, that Judge Gilbert has a command of a room. If you've never seen him in action in a board meeting when public comments get a little out of whack, or Matt Kupchak goes a little too loud. He can, if we ever need a class on judicial intimidation, Judge Gilbert come in. But the legacy we're celebrating today is truly exceptional. As a dedicated lawmaker in Illinois, Senator John G. Gilbert understood education as the cornerstone of justice and opportunity. His vision and advocacy were instrumental in establishing Southern Illinois University School of Law, an institution that has shaped generations of legal minds and served as a beacon of education in our region. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please join me in welcoming a distinguished jurist, a dedicated public servant, my fellow SIU trustee, and the son of our honoree, Federal Judge Phil Gilbert.
thank you very much. Thank you, John and Ed and President Mahoney and Chancellor Lane. Thank you for those comments and Dean Upchurch. Before I start, I also have to introduce my family. First of all is Laura Mahoney here. There she is back there. Laura is the better half of President Mahoney. And I'd like to introduce my wife, Gail, because many years ago, at a function like this, I failed to introduce my wife. And it cost me a car. I had to buy a car to get out of the doghouse. My wife, Gail, thank you very much. And then I have my daughter, Jennifer, and her husband, DW, who is a fireman over here. Where is DW? There he is. He's a fireman. And what you might not know is DW's grandfather was Wayman Presley, who was one of the founders and builders of Bald Knob Cross in Alto Pass. And his mother was Priscilla Presley, who was a professor here at the university. And I just wonder how many times her nameplate was stolen over the years. A lot. And then there are two children, my grandchildren, Donald William Gilbert Presley and Emerson Abigail Presley. And Will is one of Chancellor Lane's fans because they like to sit next to other basketball games, and Will tries to tell Chancellor Lane what's going on and what's And then my son John Gray Gilbert, named after his grandfather. And he is soon to be married in a few months, lives in Nashville, but he came up here for this special occasion. I also want to introduce most of you people, I want to introduce my family. I got another family other than this family. It's called my court family. And I have most of my law clerks I've had over 30 years plus have been graduates of this law school. My very first law clerk was Diane Goffinet, and she's back here. Then I have Sandra Cook, who was one of my law clerks. Joanna Wells, I don't know whether Joanna's here or not, but she teaches here, and she was one of my law clerks. But most of my law clerks came out of this law school. And then I have my career law clerk, Tracy Prosser, who is here, who did not graduate from this law school. She was a Wolverine that I turned into a Saluki because she is now a teacher here on campus. So, and she's my career law clerk. Then I have my courtroom deputy, Tina Gray, who is back there. She runs my courtroom. Then I have my paralegal, Gina Hoyt. She's over here. She's a graduate of SIU Paralegal Studies. She runs my chambers. Then I have my university family, which is headed by Paula Keith, who is the board secretary, and she is my university boss. So if you're getting the idea that I don't run anything, you're absolutely right. These folks tell me what to do, where to go. But you know, any profession, anybody that's in a profession or business will know that they're only as good as the people that you work with. And I have worked with the best of the best, both in the courtroom, both in court, and also at the university. I could not imagine having a better board to work with, a better administration to work with than what we have here at SIU. We are truly blessed to have President Mahoney and Chancellor Lane and in Edwardsville, Chancellor Minor, and even Matt Kupik. Matt's back there. He's done a tremendous job. We are very blessed to have a wonderful support system that the Board of Trustees has. I also want to introduce Jane Rader. She's sitting back there. Jane is a former U of I trustee, IBHE member, and probably has known my father the longest. because most of the people here didn't know my father, didn't know who he was, didn't know what he did, and probably wondering why we're here. But there are several people here who did know him. I know Glenn Bouchard, Jake Rendelman, who is a Johnny Logan trustee. You have Gail Pyatt and Tom Britton, and there's John Jackson. There's several people here that knew my father and knew what he did. So, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about my family, because I have a big family with court and university. I also want to briefly go over my family connection to SIU. In 1892, my grandfather left a farm in Jefferson County outside Mount Vernon and came here to Southern to go to school at the Normal College. He graduated here in 1896, went to the University of Illinois to further his education in agriculture and biology. In 1911, after teaching school at some high schools, he was talked into coming back to Southern as the first head of the Department of Agriculture, which he ran for a few years, and then became the head of the biology department. I found out when I read the oral history on my father, that my grandfather was responsible for SIU's purchase of their first farm, which now, where it is now, encompasses the Banterra Center and part of the Student Center. Was the first SIU farm that my grandfather helped find. Then my grandmother graduated from SIU, and she was an elementary school teacher. Both my parents graduated from SIU. My wife graduated from SIU. Both my children graduated from SIU. I may have two future Salukis here sitting here. The only oddball in the family, and both my sisters graduated from SIU. The only oddball in the family was me. I did not graduate from SIU, but yet I did do university school, did grammar school here from nursery school through 6th grade at Pulliam Hall. But they didn't give me a diploma, so I can't say I graduated from SIU. But anyway, the history of my family goes back over 100 years. Now, who was John Gilbert? Only a few people here knew him and what he did. And so in 1987, he was awarded an honorary Doctor of Laws degree. So the best way for me to describe to the people that didn't know my father what he did, I would like to read parts of that resolution. It states, John G. Gilbert has devoted his distinguished career to the law, public service, and higher education. His ceaseless efforts on behalf of Southern Illinois University, while a member of the Illinois Senate, and later as a member of the Illinois Board of Higher Education, helped shape the future of this institution. Mr. Gilbert received a bachelor's degree in education in 1933 from Southern Illinois University and a law degree from University of Illinois in 1938. Upon his return to Carbondale, he established the law practice and served as Master of Chancery for Jackson County Circuit Court. World War II intervened, and Mr. Gilbert answered the country's call first as a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and then as a legal officer with the United States Navy. From 1948 to 1956, Mr. Gilbert served ably as state's attorney for Jackson County. In 1960, he was elected as senator to the Illinois General Assembly. For the next 12 years, he served as a spokesperson for Southern Illinois University in Springfield, assisting Dwight Morris to implement the changes necessary to convert this institution from a small teacher's college into the large comprehensive university it is today. Through his efforts, SIU was finally allowed to add professional schools, engineering, law, medicine, dentistry to its already impressive offerings. His major legislative achievements were in the fields of education, serving for years as chairman of the Senate's Education Committee. economic development, and conservation. He often called upon his many friends throughout the state to assist in passing a piece of legislation vital to this region. His successes are apparent in the expansive and beautiful campus of Southern Illinois University, in the excellent recreational parks and programs found in this region, and the increased awareness on the part of the state and federal agencies of the needs of Southern Illinois. Mr. Gilbert left the legislature in 1973 to devote more time to his family and his law practice. I've got to stop there because one of the main reasons he retired from the legislature is because I was graduating from law school, and he wanted to build up his practice for me. I guess he didn't think I could do it. However, in 1977, he re-entered public service, accepting an appointment by the governor to the Illinois Board of Higher Education. Over the years, Mr. Gilbert has maintained strong ties with Southern Illinois University. He served the Alumni Association both as president and as a member of the board of directors, and he also served on the board of the SIU Foundation. Over the last 49 years, John G. Gilbert has won our respect as a lawyer, as a state senator, as a public servant, and as an outspoken supporter of public higher education. In recognition of his numerous and significant contributions toward the growth and development of Southern Illinois University and the surrounding region, this recommendation is presented to award the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws to John G. Gilbert. Now, at that ceremony where he received the honorary degree, then Governor Jim Thompson sent a letter that was read. I'm just going to read just a few paragraphs of that letter. It says, "Dear Senator Gilbert, the period of time in which you served in the Illinois Senate was a pivotal time for education in our great state. The honor you are receiving today can only imagine the measure your contributions have had to our educational system. Your achievements are legendary. You were a major figure in ushering Southern Illinois University from a small teacher's college to a major educational institution which today enjoys an outstanding national reputation. Your efforts were crucial in creating the Board of Higher Education and the magnificent system of community colleges in the state of Illinois. As chairman of the Education Committee and vice chairman of the School Problems Commission, you were a major voice in shaping the educational policy in Illinois for over a decade. In that decade, decisions were made that were far-sighted and have had a significant impact on the quality of education today. When my father died in 1987, the headline in the Southern Illinois, and it was probably pretty much throughout the state, was "Education Senator Succumbs to Cancer." In that article, Senator Paul Simon, Sheila's father, is quoted as saying, "In the field of education, he contributed immensely. SIU wouldn't be what it is today without John Gilbert's efforts." In that same article, then Congressman Glenn Pashard said, "Education was Gilbert's love and his life. He knew how to, he was so well respected, and he knew how to work the system, not only for the university, but for all of the public schools in Illinois." Now, I don't know whether John Redelman is here. Is John here? I don't know. John Redelman is an attorney in Carbondale. He's graduated from this law school. John Redelman's father was also John Redelman, who was Dwight Morris's right-hand man during the growth days of this university. And his father later went to Edwardsville and ran that campus, and Redelman Hall in Edwardsville is named after him. But a few days after my father passed away, I received this letter from John Redelman, and I'll just read parts of it. It says, "Dear Judge Gilbert, young lawyers are worse off that he is no longer with us. Just as important, in my humble estimation, is the loss to education's body politic. In my youth, I have witnessed the works and the passing of Dwight Morris, my dad, and now your father. There are too few people of vision remaining in the leadership of education. Men of inspiration have been replaced by the managers of the status quo. I am grateful to have grown up in our era of growth, hope, and optimism, both for the university and the community. Your dad was not only a part of that spirit, he was the source of it. I knew I couldn't get through that part. But you know, my father having the label of education senator wasn't just because of his support for SIU and what he did here. He was a strong supporter of education at all levels, K through 12, as well as higher education, vocational training. In the 1960s, the Chicago Transit Authority was running out of money and needed a subsidy from the state of Illinois. Glenn Pichard told me my father took to the Senate floor and argued in favor and support of the subsidy, saying that the city of Chicago and the Chicago school system needed the subsidy. The subsidy passed. Now, I don't know what my father's thinking was, but maybe he was thinking, how are kids and students in Chicago going to get to school if they can't ride the buses or the trains? That may have been one of the reasons why Mayor Daley of Chicago and his legions of legislators were strong supporters of SIU during the appropriation process, during the growth and development of both Carbondale and the Edwardsville campuses. I would not, if I had to ask Glenn Pichard and Jane Rader to name one character of my father, I would imagine that they would probably come up with a character of humility. My father was a very humble man. And now I'm going to read to you, they're short, the remarks that my father made at his law school commencement when he received the honorary degree. And you will see his humility come through here. Members of the board, Chancellor Pettit, President Guyan, Dean Strickland, members of the graduating class, and friends. I accept this honor knowing that there are many others deserving, including some present here today. I accept this on behalf of my family, all of whom have attended Southern. I have done nothing more for the university than any of you would have done had you been in my position. I've always been an active supporter of education at all levels, and I believe that through education comes better job opportunities and improved quality of life. I was fortunate to have served in the legislature when education was a top priority. Because of the dynamic leadership of President Dwight Morris, cooperation of all the legislators, as well as many organizations, we were able to help Southern grow and expand into a major university which offers a wide variety of educational opportunities to its students. Although I do not take any personal credit for the professional schools mentioned in the resolution, I'm particularly proud of the law school and the fine reputation it has as one of the outstanding young schools in the nation. The leadership we've had from Dr. Lazar, the late Dean Hobson, Dean Strickland, and the fine faculty and fine student body have made this one of the finest young law schools in the country. Again, thank you for this honor, and to the graduates, congratulations on your accomplishments, and best of luck to you as you pursue your legal career. Humility. Humility. If my father was here today, he would say, first of all, when it came to this recognition and all the support that SIU had in the early days, he always shared the successes of this university and giving credit to others, saying it was a team effort, which it was. You had Sheila Simon's father, Paul Simon, part of that team. You had Alan Dixon in the Senate. They both served in the Illinois Senate when my dad was there. Sam Badalabine from Edwardsville. You had Paul Powell and Clyde Schultz and Dick Hart and the other legislators from this area. They were part of the team. And a while back, I think it was Dick Hart told me years ago, because he served for a few years as a state representative when my dad was state senator. He said that my father was the influential force and the point person in all the legislation that impacted this university while he was in the Senate. humility. He gave credit to other people for things that he did. If he were here today, he would say this law school and its graduates are fulfilling its intended purpose and mission of not only providing legal services to a previously underserved area of the state, but are producing leaders of the community, judges, state's attorneys, public defenders, a congressman, state legislator, board members, both school board members, public and not-for-profit, just community leaders. We've had, I would say that most of the judges, and if you go back there, you'll see a hall of judges. We have at least 160 students that have graduated from this law school that have become judges. And most of the judges in the Southern Illinois probably graduated from this law school. We've had 3 chief judges of the federal district court in this district graduate from this law school. One of which is here today, Judge Pat Murphy. There he is. He graduated. We've had a Court of Claims Commissioner, Trish Murphy, graduated from this law school. We've had not only state court judges that have been associate appellate judges, but we've had, and I should have introduced earlier, but 2 of my colleagues, I tell you, we have Jeff Goffinette. You graduated from here, didn't you, Jeff? He's a judge here. And I don't know if there's any other judges that I failed to mention, but
Judge McGlenn.
who?
Stephen Glenn is here.
Yeah, but he didn't graduate from here. I'm getting ready to introduce Judge McGlenn, who is going to be the next chief judge, or soon to be chief judge of the Southern District of Illinois. And then we've had magistrate judges. We've had Judge Daly, who is here, whose office is right down the hall from mine. We have Judge Sasan, who's from the East St. Louis. He came here. I appreciate him coming here. But appreciate those judges appearing here. But he would be very proud, because this law school has not only fulfilled its purpose, it's gone beyond. And the support that John Simmons has given to this university is going to take this law school to the next level, to where it's going to be a premier law school in the state of Illinois, in my judgment. But we've had trustees, 2 former trustees of this university graduated from this law school. Tom Britton's back there is one of them. So the community leaders, the impact that this law school has had on Southern Illinois. We've even had Ed Curtis. Is Ed here?
Over here.
Well, there you are. One of the former chief judges of the Central District of Illinois in Springfield. Sue Myers-Call was an undergrad and law school grad here. So the tentacles of this law school goes throughout the entire state of Illinois and beyond. But he would be very proud of what this law school is accomplishing, has accomplished, and will accomplish. Now, before he died, the university approached my father and said they wanted to name a building after him for all he had done for this university. My father declined. He didn't want that. So the university decided to pass another resolution honoring his service. My father was too ill to go to the Board of Trustee meetings that passed a resolution. So I went there in my father's place. My father told me to tell the board, he thanks them for the gesture, but that he did nothing more for the university that any of them wouldn't have done had they been in his position. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Whereupon Harris Rowe, who was chairman of the board and a former legislator, stopped me. And he said, Judge Gilbert, it's a lot more than that. You got to be the right man in the right place at the right time. And your father was the right person in Springfield that provided the leadership and the influence necessary during those critical years of growth, not only in Carbondale, but also in Edwardsville. Education, that was his love of his life, starting with his parents. And it's gone down from generation to generation. I know I've talked too long, but I want to say one of the greatest honors of my life is to serve as a trustee of this esteemed university that has been an integral part of my family's history for over 100 years. And I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank the law school. I want to thank John Simmons for his support of the law school, the foundation, and on behalf of myself, my sisters, my entire family, thank you for this recognition. Now, if you come back here and you don't see the senator there, my son's been here and he's trying to block that out. He's named after his grandfather, as I was named after my grandfather. So, okay, now, Hannah, what do we, or not, Angela, what do we, oh, there we go.
Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and we'll have the ribbon cutting, so if the Gilbert family wants to join us up here, Judson has our ribbon. If you get a moment after we do this, there's a wall where we have memorabilia and honor to Senator Gilbert. You can look on it. So she's on here, look at the end. There you go. Look at that. Give us a note.
You guys and
Just hold it there. Are you ready? Go.
Couple more pictures.
Okay, Dad.
We have another ribbon if you want a photo with it.
Oh, yeah, that'd be perfect. Oh, okay. Here you go. Hold it.
And I forgot to say, go Dogs.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been such a great honor, and we're so proud at Simmons Law School to be bearing this name. If you get a chance, if you want to walk into the administrative suite, there's a whole area that's dedicated to the senator and his memory, and we invite you to do that. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, Brittany. I can end? Yeah.